Hey guys, it's Ross, and I want to do just a really quick once-over video on what I'm going to do with my temperate fruit trees, my temperate shrubs, my temperate edible plants. And a lot of people have seen, and you guys have been asking me, I just showed you guys what I did with my subtropical fruit trees, my subtropical plants, things that are not very hardy. So hardiness is how well that plant is going to handle the cold in the wintertime. Some things have a range between a certain zone, and some things at a certain temperature will actually just completely die. So my temperate fruits are things that here in Pennsylvania, here in zone 7, will survive outside without a problem. But here's the thing, the roots of these plants need to be protected. So if it's a tree that's in the ground, and we've seen this in nature all the time, we don't even have to think about it. If it's a tree in the ground, it's going to survive, right? Assuming it's hardy to that particular zone. And why is that? Well, the wood is hardy for one. Second, the roots of those plants, the roots of those trees can survive in the ground because one, the ground here especially doesn't really freeze all that much. Two, the roots of these trees are going quite deep down. And once you go deep and deeper and deeper and deeper into the Earth's crust, we're talking maybe from 3 feet down to 9 feet, even deeper, you get to a point where the temperature in the Earth's crust is actually the same. It gets very little variation in it. Even when the temperature outside here in Pennsylvania is 0 degrees, the ground in the Earth, 5 feet, 7 feet deep, is still like 50, 60, maybe even 70 degrees if you go deep enough. So that's how those trees that we see in nature, or we see all over the place, are able to survive, because their roots are really deep. But my roots in these fruit trees are in containers, and they're subject to the colds quite easily, because one, they're above the ground. And anything above the ground has the ability to freeze, no problem. If it's 0 degrees outside, the roots could be 0 degrees. That's just a fact. But what I've discovered and what I have learned through digging through the internet, and I think this particular topic, you're not going to find the answer to this many places, maybe not even on YouTube. You're going to have to find some people that are doing this themselves, that are just hidden away in different forums, or it's a topic that isn't covered all that much. So I'm glad I'm able to show it to you guys. But you can actually keep your temperate fruits outside in the wintertime all the time. Your containered fruits, that is. So I've really devised a system that really isn't all that complicated, and I wanted to show you guys exactly how it works, I guess, and why it works. So here's the bed here. I basically just moved every single temperate fruit tree and shrub I have into this bed, piled up the straw as high as I could on top of these containers. It only took me 2 bales of straw. It took me no time at all. Really moving these things around was the hardest thing. And you can use anything. You don't need to use straw. You can use leaves, you can use wood chips, you can use any kind of mulch. It's a really great insulator, mulch. And protecting these root zones is really the key to that whole thing. So if I can protect the roots, keep them warm, maybe another solution to this, instead of insulating them, people have dug trenches in the ground, a deep enough trench to get that geothermal heating that I was talking about previously. That's going to be enough to actually protect the root zones of these plants. Another thing I have going on here is that I have this wall. This wall really isn't all that necessary. Some of these fruit trees, actually, I left out outside, unprotected, with absolutely no damage. But you know what? Why not take the extra length if you can? There really isn't all that much work to make sure that all this stuff is going to survive. But this wall is also, it's blocking some wind coming in from this direction. It's also getting hit by the sun here. And during the day, the sun is actually warming up this wall. It's taking in some thermodynamic heating, and then at nighttime, it's actually releasing that heat from from the structure here and kind of giving a little bit of extra heat to the root zones of these plants. If I were to stick my hand down in here, or maybe if I were to put a thermometer, it's not very noticeable with my hand, but if I were to put a thermometer down there versus a thermometer right on top of this thing, it's going to be a world of difference. You know, these trees really are getting insulated quite well, and that's what we're trying to accomplish here. We're trying to accomplish protecting the root zones, because we have trees that are hardy to zone 7. I'm in zone 7. Every single thing here, whether it's goji berries or apples or pears or plums or any kind of stone fruit, or we got some cherry, we have some persimmons, and I'm talking about hardy persimmons. Maybe they're American persimmons, or they're Asian persimmons that are bred for hardiness, or maybe we got some jujubes here, or cherry fruit, or we got some goji berries or blueberries. I mean, these are very, very hardy plants. We have some raspberries back here, some blackberries. Very hardy plants, easily hardy to zone 7. All of this is hardy to zone 6. So I'm a zone higher than where this is. So if the temperature hits 0 here, all the wood here will survive. But here's the problem. I want to make sure, like I've said, to protect the root zone. So I've selected trees that I think are quite hardy, at least a zone below my zone. So if I'm in zone 7, things that are hardy to zone 6, and then I've been able to leave them outside, insulate them, and you can get through the winter with absolutely no problems. In fact, I've done this last year. Some of the things were unprotected, like blueberries. I did it the year before with kiwi and raspberries and blackberries. So I just thought this piece of information is really not out there at all, and I thought you guys would be really interested to see it. Now that you've seen what I've done with my subtropical trees, putting them in the greenhouse, or putting them in the sunroom, or putting them below the sunroom, now you get to see what I do with my container plants that are more temperate, and leaving them out the entire winter. So hope you guys learned something. I know this was a quite requested, pretty largely requested video. Finally got it out there for you guys. Also, if you're interested, you can follow me on Facebook. I know Facebook, you guys might not all have Facebook, but I like to put out some content over there as well that's more photo based. Some things that I just see, take a picture of, that's going on in my life, or maybe it's something I'm growing or something that I ate. It's a nice place for you guys to stay a little bit more in touch of what's going on. I like to put more content out there in terms of photos, because it's just so easy. You know, I like to write something about it rather than having to record an entire video and then editing that for, you know, an hour or two. So if you guys want to follow me on Facebook, go for it. It's my Facebook is facebook.com/RossRaddy. If you guys enjoyed this, thumbs up the video, subscribe, blah 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 blah. I'll see you guys later, okay?